So I'm trying to understand if you think that it's all Black people are like this, or if your world is kind of colored by this is what's going on in America. This has failed for 1,000 reasons. Welfarism has definitely, Black people in 1940s stand up. My grandfather, I talk about that denigration and the corrosion of
Yeah.
culture. That's happening. White, Black, whatever you want to name it, there is this intentional corrosion of culture. So do you think it's literally, well, this is just what a Black person is when they come out? Or do you think that post welfare, LBJ, Great Society, this is what Black Americans have become, and I have a right to respond to that and say that as a white man, I don't want to live there?
Well, I think it's more nature than people would like to believe.
What's going on, guys? Red Channels here. So recently there was this big interview between Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. They discussed some aspects of Black America, among many other things. And there was another clip of Nick that I wanted to get to where he has an address to Black America, which I also thought was very current and relevant. I like to talk about that too. I feel like this conversation between Nick and Candace is important because Candace is a prominent Black conservative in America. And the topic of discussion, this particular section of their interview, is very relevant or has been made very relevant by discussions on the app formerly known as Twitter, now X. So before we dive right in, please give this video a like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's see what they have to say.
There's this classic tension of, is it nature, is it nurture, is it cultural, or is it intrinsic, is it racial?
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't even believe we're having these kinds of discussions again on YouTube. I gotta put a shield up. I gotta put a layer of analysis in front of my analysis. I didn't start this. Don't get me in trouble. Don't nuke this channel.
And I've always been on the latter side of this among conservatives. Conservatives like to say it's all culture. Black America is the way it is because of hip hop music and the Great Society and that kind of stuff. And I think the uncomfortable reality is a big part of it is intrinsic. One of the big arguments against the abolition of slavery in the 1860s is that, when Europeans colonized Africa, they hadn't discovered the wheel. There's no two-story buildings. There's no writing. There's no written language. Missionaries had to go to Africa in the last century and invent it for the African people because there's no recorded history. They didn't have writing.
So Egypt is not in Africa?
Well, Egypt is a different race. The Egyptians were not Black.
Okay, but you said when they went to Africa, so I just want to...
The interior of Africa in the late 19th century. Scramble for Africa.
Okay, so we're now knocking Egypt out of Africa.
Well, Egypt is part of northern Africa, sub-Saharan Africa.
You said Africa, so I'm not trying to get a gotcha. I'm just responding. You're saying Africa.
Sure. Yeah.
It's in...
People do think that people in Egypt are Black.
Egyptians are Arab.
Yeah, I don't understand why they
Remember,
think that.
bro, we met in New Jersey? He's Egyptian.
Yeah, I don't understand why they think that Egyptians are fully African.
It's in Africa.
Candace is totally trying to do a gotcha there with Nick Fuentes. As much as I don't like Nick personally, I've done multiple videos criticizing him. Candace is trying to pull a gotcha there, and the Cartier family, while not technically accurate, is still closer to the truth than what Candace is kind of trying to trip Nick up on. Ancient Egyptians are, like, whatever race or ethnicity you want to say they were, are not really related to anyone alive today. The closest people we have today related to the ancient Egyptians are the Coptic people, and they definitely do not look like sub-Saharan Africans. And there are some statues of ancient Egyptians, a lot of statues that do look racially more Black than they would conventional Northern Europeans. I always remember thinking as a kid that mask of King Tut, his lips were too big for him to be white. But, there were times where people like the Nubians ruled over, temporarily conquered Egypt. And the Egyptians understood themselves as being generally lighter skinned than the Nubians. They depicted this in their art. But Egypt is more closely related to Mediterranean civilization than it is to sub-Saharan African civilization. None of the institutions, none of the religion, none of the culture permeated permeated the rest of Africa from ancient Egypt.
And invent it for the African people because there's no recorded history. They didn't have writing.
So Egypt is not in Africa.
Well, Egypt is a different race. The Egyptians were not black.
Okay, but you said when they went to Africa, so I just want to...
The interior of Africa in the late 19th century, scramble for Africa.
So we're now knocking Egypt out of Africa.
Well, Egypt is part of northern Africa, sub-Saharan Africa.
You said Africa, so I'm not trying to get a gotcha. I'm just responding. You're saying Africa.
Sure. Yeah.
It's in Africa. It's Egypt. It's kind of ridiculous to say there was no written language.
Well,
so I'm just trying to get you to
sure.
You know,
Egyptians are not Africans.
If I'm not pushing back, the internet will. So
Egyptians are not racial Africans. When I say African, I'm saying sub-Saharan Africans.
Sub-Saharan, okay.
Black people because it is a different race. In sub-Saharan Africa, and Europeans did not penetrate that until late 19th century. They didn't have any of this. To the extent that you have infrastructure in Africa, it's from the Muslims in the Sahel and the Maghreb in northern Africa, where the Arabs colonized. And then you had, Carthage and Egypt. You had ancient civilizations. But sub-Saharan Africa, they didn't have that.
Nick is, for the most part, right here again. The only external stimulus that Black Africa had came basically from Islamic civilization. Nick mentioned the Sahel, Arab traders in sort of northern Africa, but then there's also the Zanj coast of East Africa. The remoteness of the African continent really can't be overstressed. The colonization of Australia happened about 100 years before the scramble for Africa. The white man wasn't even able to round the Bight of Benin until Portuguese innovations in shipbuilding technology in the 15th century, if I'm not mistaken, and wasn't able to establish long-term settlements on the African continent until around the 1870s or so, after the invention of antidotes or medicines to mitigate the effect of tropical diseases.
I be feeling like Nick playing. Because the way he be being funny on the internet and stuff, but he's dead ass right here though.
Yeah, he moving his knees. He's doing this.
He's dead serious, bro. Oh my
I don't
God,
know,
bro.
I can't agree. I can't agree to that.
Hey man, I will be labeled the most extreme. I actually want to be labeled one of the most extreme to ever walk this planet. I do want to be labeled as one of them. So I'm going to just go ahead and say what I really think.
What do you think?
That nigga Nick might be a little right.
So you think that black people...
Hey, I'm going to tell you why. My daughter is in daycare, guys. And the teacher told her mother that it's this Asian kid in the class. They're all two. They said he's the smartest kid in the class. He knows everybody's parents. So... I'm trying to figure. I'm like, is he learning extra curriculum at home?
Probably so.
We don't know that. We don't know the kid's situation. But the Asian kid's the smartest kid in the class. The teacher said that he can point out every single kid's mother when they get there. My daughter's name is Sky. He said, Sky, your mom's here. No other kid can do that.
Kids develop at different rates. Because my brother's baby is months younger than yours, and when I would go home, he would be talking. Your baby wasn't. So they just develop differently.
They do. But to say that the Asian kid's the smartest in the class is still beyond me. And it's a lot of kids in that class.
But it also is a lot of stuff that the children are exposed to that develops their brain at different rates. Like if you leave your child with his grandparents, it's going to take up them qualities. Things like that.
Yeah, them Asian kids probably at home reading to the kids, showing them books and cards and all.
Exposing him to different curriculum and stuff.
What is this?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and be oblivious to what's actually going on in the world. I see Africa, I see Europe, I see America, I see all these different countries, so I'm not going to sit here and be oblivious.
All right, now, that was all pretty funny, but let's continue to the next clip, which I think has more social, political, and cultural significance.
It's a shame. I really do believe, I think black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, these black people are really struggling and they're turning into these maniacs. It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel, and you know, look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare. And I don't consider myself one of them. The reason that people have negative attitudes about black people is because most people's interactions with black people are negative. Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder. And you say, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that. If everybody did that, it would just be another lane. And, you know, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply to them. They have no respect for society. Like that's their interaction is they are a waiter and they wait on a black table and the black people don't tip and they're fucking rude.
Our own servers are afraid of us, y'all. They don't even want to come to the table no more.
Nobody wants to wait on black people at restaurants. I'm going to tell you that is the real tea, and I will tell you why. As somebody that was a black server all throughout college, number one, when you wait on black people, they are always on this extra stuff. Everything is so extra. They come in there with their noses turned up at you because they think that they're about to pay for a service and they think that they're the Queen of Sheba or Beyonce or I don't know who they think they are. But when they come in there, there's always an attitude. They want extra stuff. They want a one run. They want water with lemon. They want this. They want that. Oh, my silverware is dirty. Oh, this. Oh, and then they want to eat 85% of the meal, but then say, oh, this wasn't cooked right, and want to get a whole other meal, and then also to get the entire thing comped. They do so much extra stuff, and when you are black, it doesn't matter because they will treat you even worse because now they think that they are so familiar with you. And I would try to be so nice. I would try to be so extra special for these black people. I will never forget it in my life. I was waiting at the TGI Fridays at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, in between semesters during college. This group of black people, is about 10 of them, ran me ragged, ran up a $250 bill, and left me a $3 tip. I will never forget it for the rest of my life. I have never been treated as horribly from whites or others in the restaurant industry as I have been treated by black people. This is why nobody wants to wait on you. Black people, white people, whatever. Nobody wants to deal with you.
That's most people's interactions. It's stuff like that. They go to the DMV and they see a black person behind the counter and they say, oh, here we go. And the person's rude. Now, it just goes to show people are not racist. It goes to show people don't like people that are rude. That people don't, it's unpleasant. People want to be treated with consideration and respect. And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence, although the violence is pretty striking. If you live your life and you know that you're going to be mugged by black people, it kind of colors your opinion or perception of black people, wouldn't you say? If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for? Black people. And you equate that with danger. And it doesn't take a lot of them to spoil the whole bunch like that. And we just want black people to take accountability and say, look, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative. And sometimes extremely negative, like I could get a gun in my face. You know? That's a problem. And people go, well, you are just loaded up with hatred and racism. It's like, I'm really not. I'm a really friendly person. I'm a really polite, friendly person. I give everybody a chance. But if I'm someplace and I see some black person walking in with their pants sagging and they can't articulate what their problem is or what they need, and they're rude and they're aggressive and I'm in fear for my life, like, yeah, I have a problem with all of that. And people go, and these black people go, well, you're racist, you're racist. It's like, no, I just hate inconsiderate behavior. If black people were super well behaved, we would be racist in the other direction. We'd say, black people, oh, yes, dude, yes. My day is about to turn around for the better. What can I help you with, sir? Please, come right on in. Man.
Why is he this way?
Oh, my God, bro.
I have no idea why that in particular was so funny to him.
If black people were known for being the best, then we would be racist in the other direction. Oh, finally. So yeah, that really bothers me. It just bothers me in this damn ass city because that's all it is in Chicago is just these black people who can never take accountability. It's always somebody else's fault.
That's a good point. He ended on right there. To a lot of black people, it is always somebody else's fault.
Yeah, and this is really where the whole black fatigue thing came in, because after a certain point, it's not really going to matter to most white people what series of historical events led to the conditions the black community is in now. And these sorts of behavioral problems are like a known issue in the black community, to the point there's even a Chris Rock routine about it. I'm sure you've heard it. But it's really like, if black people are dealing with this behavior from other black people, don't you think you don't think that spills over and other races and ethnicities of people don't experience it as well? And don't, how are they going to know who's who exactly?
I would say, this is what I'll say. Okay, click that, go click that tweet.
She's black.
Click this tweet. Click the tweet. Yes, this is what I was getting ready to say. There's two different races of black people here. We have regular black people, like us here, and then we have Gus. And he described option B there.
Well, I mean, he lives in Chicago, so I'm sure
there's a lot of them there.
Yeah,
but there is a difference. Like, I'm sorry, but there is a difference.
Hold on, what percent of us?
There is a difference.
What percent
it's
of
two
us?
different races of people completely.
It is, but what percent of us are?
I don't know. A lot.
What estimate?
I would say
55.
Nah,
45.
Not even that high.
This is always a fun game to watch people play, watch them go. How many of us are dead weight? What percentage?
I would say, like, I don't know what I would say. I don't know how many, but I know that.
I would say about 70.
Nah,
70's too high. 70's
I would say,
it's
like,
not the majority. It's the poorer ones. Well, if we do say that, then it would be the majority.
I don't want to say a number.
What are you asking, Grok?
But everyone who lives is not.
Yeah.
No.
What did he search?
There's 4 black people who are.
What did he search?
How many black people are in poverty?
Oh.
In 2023, only 17.9% of black people live in poverty.
So then it would be around 30%. I don't know. I think it is I
was gonna say.
I think the point that he made about rude, inconsiderate behavior from people and negative interactions could sour you to a people, and I think that's a valid opinion. I think that's a valid outlook to have. I mean, if I had a bunch of negative interactions with someone, I would think negatively of that someone.
But if 40%, this is a stat and win. Those 22. If 40% of black people commit violent crime, so that's 40 off the rip. So what percent are a good 20? You can't say it's less than 20.
So you think it's 60%?
Far over, buddy.
Wow.
40% commit violent crimes.
Well, I would say then 40%.
Yeah.
40,
So, you think
45.
I said 55%.
I'd say 45 to 55%.
Do you think
I said that off rip.
Yeah.
Do you think all inconsiderate people commit violent crimes?
I won't say no.
Okay, then it's above 40% then, bud.
That's why I said 55%, bud.
Because you do have to start at 40 with that.
You gotta say over 50 for sure.
Sad though.
I don't know, man.
It is sad, but I ain't gonna lie. The way to end it is to do what we do. I feel like, and to call it out, and we can't just spare people's feelings anymore. That's why I'm not mad at what he said at all.
Well,
I don't know. I think there just has to be some sort of accountability among black people. Like if black people as a collective stop defending that behavior and justifying that behavior and then accepting it as black behavior, then it would be frowned upon. But a lot of this stuff is accepted and defended by black people. Oh, they're just kids. Oh, they're hungry. Oh, they're this, they're that.
They had to.
It's always a defense from black people. So it's almost a justifying that behavior. If that type of stuff was condemned by black people in the majority, we would see a difference. But we don't. The black women want thugs that sag their pants and act gangster. They want that.
When the nerd came up to the girl in high school, she was like, no, I don't want you. And then once she became a baby mama, he was a CEO, executive and all that. And she like, hey, you remember me? He said, no, I don't want you. I be feeling like, respectfully, y'all is the grown-up versions of the niggas that got hurt in high school while we was out fucking with the drug dealers. Let me tell you something. We were victims then making horrible-ass decisions with grown-ass niggas preying on us. Y'all gotta let that shit go.
Speaking to my guys, anytime that you find yourself in a situation where you dodged somebody that you thought was for you but really wasn't, that's God protecting you.
time.
It's
One at a
about
time.
dodging these women that's giving 2-for-1 diseases, chlamydia and herpes.
That's why they single moms, because they keep dating them and they keep going to jail. Sorry, the facts are the facts. That's just what it is.
It is. I'm not gonna say it's crazy because just saying that all your interactions with black people are always negative.
He didn't say all of them.
No,
he
didn't
said
say
majority.
Okay, and so I want to know with you guys what like percent of
My personal interactions?
Yeah, y'all personal interactions.
I wouldn't say I'd be I mean,
is it 50? Is it 60?
I mean, when I worked at a mall store, I think black people were stealing a lot out of the store that I worked at.
So what would you say the percent of inconsiderate? The people he described. It's impossible to find a number here, but
do you think that's a bad take?
No, I mean, this is anecdotal evidence here.
Yeah.
You know him. I already seen it.
I mean,
you've seen them though. You've came across them.
The statistics say if I lined up every black person, 40% of them commit violent crimes, brother.
Nah, man.
That's a stat.
Nah.
Can we look it up?
It's not a stat.
It's a stat.
You can't argue with that.
It's a stat based on another stat, a group within the population. It's ages, what is it, like 14 to 30 something?
I'm about to look it up.
Or that.
Okay, let's see.
This is. I mean, hey, I know my experience.
I said I agreed with what Nick said.
You know, I know when I'm at a place.
I don't like those people with those type of interactions.
When I'm at a place,
and I will have the accountability to call it out.
When I'm at a place where it's good black people, wow, just like Nick said, this is amazing. But when I'm at a place with a lot of them, it's not too good of an outcome there, and it's rare. Like Greek events. Okay. Those are good black people.
Duh.
Rare though.
It's not rare.
It's not that many.
I grew up around that
Greeks.
shit.
It's not that many Greeks. It's a lot of them, but it's not that many. It's more than the regular black population.
Oh yeah, nah.
By Greeks, I think they're referring to black people who were part of the Divine Nine, which are these fraternities and sororities that operated on historically black colleges. Which is, of course, not a lot of people. It's a part of Black America that does exist and is important, but is certainly not representative of Black America generally.
Oakland, California, Chicago, Houston, Louisiana, Alabama, every state.
You know what Greeks are called? You know what they call us as black people? They call us the bourgeois. Bourgeois blacks.
Unicorns.
The bourgeoisie.
Just like the lady that told y'all today. I watched y'all and I cried. So what's her interaction with the black?
I don't know, brother.
Why? I mean, if she cried, I could tell you. I can tell you what her interaction is.
I gotta keep it 100. I do think what he said, like the reason why people would not like people based on their negative interactions and constant negative interactions with people would lead you to not like those people. I think that's a valid reason. What you just look up?
Yeah, 40%. I mean, yeah.
Hey,
41 is what I saw. 40 to 41%.
Okay. And so we have 60 that may not be like that.
But hold on.
60 is 20 going to be rude. All right, then, so be quiet. Then leave it alone. Now leave it at that. That 20, maybe we really can say that. That's why I say 70. I'm really giving niggas the benefit of the doubt. It might be.
I try.
85.
I try to give the benefit of the 85, bro. See, now you're being dramatic.
I would say, I'm not going to do a number.
I think 55 is like my rough estimate.
That's a good, good fist bump, bro. Fist bump. You really believe in them, bro.
What you mean them? I am them. I'm the 45%.
No, you're not.
You're the good side, bro.
You black person.
I'm a black person.
You're not.
I'm a black person.
Hey, but I mean,
I'm a good guy.
So you're not a.
I have faith in people that look like me.
Niggas being brutal, but hey, that's
what's more brutal, talking about it or
I'm gonna keep it 100 though. Based on what he said, I think that's a good analysis. I'm not refuting anything he said.
But hey, like Charleston White always says and all that, we can't watch this and get offended and then you sing along to a rap song where people rap about shooting up other people and actually doing it. Like y'all are actually agreeing with murder, and then you cry about this. Don't get offended now.
And what percent?
Hey man, I just saw a video where a rapper just got indicted for killing another black man on camera, and he was saying, "Oh, this is racist because I had an all-white jury," and other rappers saying, "Free him," and his own family testified against him in court. There's no hope for those type of people.
80%.
I will never justify those type of people.
I'm gonna leave my number at 80%.
Wow.
We out of here, y'all.
So obviously there's no way to quantify who falls into one of the two races of black people as they described it, but it's proportionately like very high. Like anything 50% is a coin toss. So 50-50 is like you flip a coin, 50% chance that experience is going to be negative, which is astoundingly high. Even if it were something as low as 20%, that's still unacceptable. But now they're sort of wondering earlier why people are more vocal about this. This has always been a problem. The black community has always had conversations about fixing itself and community development and has just never been able to seem to pull it together. But this has become more of a problem now, or more of a topic of discussion in public discourse because, of course, of the cultural shift that we've experienced and things like Twitter. Before, like a lot of this stuff would have just been excused by progressives under a Democratic presidency. Like if we'd seen Kamala win, all of this stuff would have continued to be denied and swept under the rug, or progressives would have the sort of cultural power and social influence to prevent these conversations from happening at all. In my view, the left preys on some of these civilizational challenges that Nick and Candace were discussing earlier. Virtually every complex civilization is structured around a central text, sometimes more than one, and contained within a rough geographic area and dominated generally by one race of people. As an example, China, for instance, is the racial and civilizational nucleus for East Asians. Today, this is even still called the Sinosphere. White people aren't quite as centralized, but Europe is still like their mother hive, and they have a common Greco-Roman and Christian civilizational framework. Black people, by comparison, have no such civilizational nucleus. Like I was saying earlier, even if ancient Egypt were founded by Black Africans, it certainly doesn't influence the Black race generally in a meaningful way today, and is more appropriately understood as being more closely related to Mediterranean civilization. Black Africa, for all its history, was largely tribal, and the few kingdoms which did develop were basically tribal kingdoms that were only regional powers. I think it's fair to say that the general condition of Black African societies were roughly comparable to pre-Roman or Dark Age Ireland in many respects, with many groups of people having similar cattle raiding cultures which continue even into the present day. So what complex structures, social structures that did exist on the African continent were highly decentralized. This decentralization and lack of a clear, glorious historic civilizational past recorded in a single central text creates challenges for identity formation in the African diaspora. So, beyond discussions of modern culture or hereditary traits, there is still no single cultural anchor to ground the community. As a result, during the last century, middle class Black America was posed with three real choices. There was entryism into white institutions and agitating for access to white resources, championed by people like W.E.B. Du Bois and most Black academics. Community development outside white society, open to the possibility for future integration, which was championed by people like Booker T. Washington and a segment of the Black middle class for a period of time. And of course, also highly strange, kind of experimental separatist movements, usually led by subversive, charismatic leaders like, say, Marcus Garvey, the Nation of Islam, or the Black Hebrew Israelites. And of course, the easiest option just ended up being, well, we want entry into white institutions and access to white resources. But then when that doesn't work out, this creates deepening, lasting resentment, which the MSM kind of just deflects onto the system of so-called white supremacy generally. when and this, the worst part about this is this ends up, denying Black people's own agency to focus on community development. But anyways, that was my opinion on the situation. I thought the conversation was interesting. I hope you enjoyed this video. And Red Channels will catch you in the next one.